Having survived the magma hideout in the previous part, we head back to Slateport, just in time to see Team Aqua steal a sub. So it's time to follow them back to their hideout, for another slogfest of annoying items, aka Bright Powder, Focus Band, King's Rock, and Quick Claw, with 90% good outcomes, but 10% bad. Though, of course, with about half the number of trainers, this is nowhere near as bad as the magma hideout. The final boss for this area is Aqua Admin Matt. Cupcake Fire blasts Glalie for the one-shot. Machamp has Quick Claw, but as long as we can get off a single bounce, we get the KO. Our first misses, unfortunately, but thankfully the second hits. We send out Pastry against Kingdra, who sets up the rain. He Draco Meteors while we Icy Wind, dropping his speed. This means we go first next turn, but I actually missed the Ice Beam range. This Kingdra must have literally survived on 1 HP or something. It does finish itself off though, with another Draco Meteor, which thankfully we just survive in the red. Baguette switches in to intimidate Dragonite and take an EQ, then it's into Bagel, who is crit by superpower, knocking her down to the yellow as she head smashes in return, which gets the knockout, though the recoil knocks her into the red as well. Against Wailord, I go to Bun to take an Ice Beam, and Baguette to intimidate and dodge the Earthquake. We switch Baguette in and out until Wailord's attack is zilch, to the point that Ice Beam is doing more to the Fire-type Arcanine than the super effective Earthquake would. This insulates him from a crit, as Ice Beam will just scratch us, even with the double damage. From here, we can get a bit of chip damage, but mainly we're PP stalling. Once that's finally over, Baguette comes in to just body slam the sleeping whale until we finally get the win. Lastly, there's Tauros. Lamington takes double edge well, and after he's dealt some chip to himself with recoil, Superpower finishes the job, winning us the battle. Unfortunately, Archie gets away in the sub though. But hey, that's the Aqua Hideout down, and that means we can make our way toward the location of the 7th gym in Musty, with a few new friends joining us. Now, I know most people want Glalie in Shell Cave, but mine was the wrong tide, with it being low rather than high. And unfortunately, despite me changing the settings multiple times, I can't get time to move properly in this game, so things like berries growing and tides changing doesn't work. We're stuck with low tide. At least this guarantees me a low-level Wailmer, thanks to the species clause. The only thing it can do is go boom, so we put it to sleep and throw a nest ball, which is best against lower level Pokemon, and it allows us to catch it before it wakes up. Then there's the gym trainers. Much like the leaders, they're all double battles, and for a lot of them, we can take advantage that they're 2 players and we're just 1, allowing us to target down the 3 left, or 3 right, Pokemon, then 2v1 the other side. This doesn't necessarily work on every single pair though, with many having well thought out synergies, such as Nate and Nicholas. I know canonically we're the daughter of Norman, but these guys are his spiritual sons, who are older than him. They use the same Espeon Slacking skill swap start. So once again we take advantage of the loafing Espeon, which all goes according to plan, with us targeting down the left side Pokemon until a high roll critical hit Facade from the Poison Swallow straight up one-shot Macarons, despite it being not very effective, and we're 3 whole levels higher. If I had a nickel for every time an electric Pokemon died to a high roll crit this run, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't very many, but it's weird that it happened twice. Other strats we have to deal with here is a combination of the left Pokemon trapping us in, or the right Perish Songs, as well as the ghost on the left with immunity to a blow up on the right, but nothing goes wrong enough for us to lose a Pokemon there, thankfully. Then it's the gym leaders, Tate and Liza, and boy was this battle tricky to plan for, especially as one of my Nuzlocke weaknesses is that I have a hard time sacking Pokemon. Like, I'd rather risk a, say, 7 out of 10 Pokemon's life to a crit than guarantee a 4 out of 10 dies to keep another safe, which works for me approximately 15 out of 16 times, but the 16th means it's probably better just to make the sacrifice. But there is a big difference between potentially losing a Pokemon from a crit and potentially losing a run, especially this run, my furthest by far. So I head in the battle ready to sack Prune Whip, and accepting that others could very well die to crits or badly timed double targets. But I'm confident we'll win the war, aka the gym battle, whatever the cost. Though of course something unexpected could always go super wrong and send us to a game over. Much like Winona, these two have 3 legendaries, though I feel it's safe to say Latios, Latias, and Jirachi are much stronger than the legendary birds. We lead Pretzel and Prune Whip against the Latis. They could 2-shot Mark should they double target him, so Pretzel is pre-damaged to the point that they're both guaranteed to see the KO and target her. Though I really don't want Pretzel to die, and there's no safe switch. So what do? The classic Endure Explosion combo. This trades Muck's life for that of both Latis and lets Pretzel safely live. This also guarantees that Guardy is sent into one spot, while the other can be Medicham or Starmie. We get Medicham, who sees a priority KO on Pretzel with Fake Out, letting us safely switch in Croissant as Boston Cream Megahorns Guardy for the one-shot. They can send in Starmie or Jirachi, and they go with Jirachi. Here's where things get slightly riskier, as they could double up on either Pokemon or go for one each. No risk of dying this turn, of course, but it could impact a future death. After an Intimidate, Jirachi Ancient Powers Croissant for barely a scratch, and doesn't get the 10% all stat boost, while Brick Break does a decent chunk of Baguette's health, thanks to a crit. Alright, even with the 1 in 16, we're still in a good spot, as Croissant T-bolts for a little under half. Next turn, Scone comes out, as Jirachi and Medicham both target down Croissant. Thankfully, there were no crits and no boosts, so he's still fine to knock Medi into the yellow. We've definitely got to get him out of there though, switching in Baguette as Scone finally finishes Medi off with a crit Fake Out. Finally, the Starmie comes out, so we can fall back on the classic Baguette Croissant Electric Heal switch, as Scone Shadow Punches the Star for a little over half. Now that Starmie knows about Volt Absorb, it won't T-bolt that slot, so Baguette comes back out. Though if she's double targeted, there's a chance she's dead, and if they get a crit, it's guaranteed. Starmie Psychics, hitting her down to the red, while Jirachi Media Mashes the Scone slot for like nothing, since they've been intimidated down a bunch at this point, allowing Hurry to finish off the star. 5v1, but the 1 is no laughing matter, and the gym leader can 100% still get some crit KOs if they're lucky. Since Boston Cream is still at full, she comes in to replace Baguette. Jirachi doesn't crit, and Scone superpowers, and it turns out we're the ones getting the lucky crit to finish off the battle. Very nice. I am happy we didn't have to sack anyone other than the planned Muck. With now 7 gym badges obtained, we're ready to venture on toward more Team Aqua stuff in the next part. See you soon!